in 1783, apparently having just met his old friend, the Earl of Coventry. By then, the Industrial Revolution was rapidly gaining ground, bringing with it new wealth right across Britain, which in turn was invariably expressed in new grand houses and gardens. The Earl of Coventry lived on at Croom well into the 19th century, and even in his old age, commissioned new sculpture for the house and garden, using a technique that had become all the rage in Georgian high society. And they included these statues guarding the entrance to the house, designed by one of my own ancestors, the architect James Wyatt.
One of Wyatt's contributions to Croom was this pair of sphinxes, and they were very fashionable. They're made out of Coade stone, which became hugely popular amongst landowners at the end of the 18th century. And the whole point about Coade stone is it's not stone at all. It's clay mixed in with various ingredients to make it exceptionally durable. So this hasn't been carved, it's been modelled, been cast.
Coade stone added a new dimension and sophistication to garden sculpture and architecture, and left its stamp on a surprising number of our finest buildings and landscapes.
I'm fascinated by this Coade production. So I'm off to Wiltshire, where the recipe for Coade stone has been rediscovered.
The original workshop ceased production in 1837.
Hello.
And it took years of trial and error for the sculptor Stephen Pettifer
I'm Steve.
Steve. Very nice to meet you.
to uncover the secret of the Coade formula and technique.
Is this all repairing stuff that was made in the heyday of Coade?
No, it's a mixture of some repair work and some new pieces. Right. So this is a restoration job here. Hannah's making new pieces, and then this is a bracket off a building in London.
Which building?
Buckingham Palace.
Right. Is there a lot of Coade at Buckingham Palace?
A huge amount.
Oh, that's written on there.
That's the original piece of graffiti from
Is
people
it?
who made it. It says
Foolish or...
Foolish Barnet.
And Barnet was the bloke who made it, was it?
Presumably, maybe there were two people working on it. Or...
Foolish Barnet. How fantastic. So that must have been hidden from when it was done to when you took it off?
Yeah.
First people to see that.
Coade sculpture was made using moulds, which is both much faster than carving a block of stone and also meant that the mould could be reused many times. However, the main advantage of Coade over carved stone lay in the extreme fine detail and the quality of craftsmanship that could be applied to the clay.
If I wanted to order a pair of tigers, what would it cost me?
16,000 for the pair.
8,000 each. Wow. This is not a poor man's stone.
No. They were held in high regard by the architects of that time. You know, actually in clay, we can really push the detail and the undercuts and be really extravagant with it. Whereas in stone, it's harder.
So presumably, say, take this here.
This keystone.
Yeah, that would be really difficult. If you look at the detail in here, would be very tricky in stone, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that in limestone.
Stephen explained to me some of the secrets of this extraordinarily versatile and durable material.
This is the clay. We have lots of different blends.
Okay. Is this a secret, by the way? Are we allowed to, do you want to give away the blend?
I'm not that secretive about it, because ultimately it's the sculpting that's difficult, that makes it hard to produce.
So let me have a look at that. So I can see the little bits in it, little white bits.
And what you're looking at there is this, which is called grog.
Coade is a mixture of fired-up ceramic grit, powdered glass, sand, and ground flint.
But then you treat it like clay.
Yes.
You model it like clay, you fire it like clay,
Yeah.
and it goes through. But it will weather and last much better than normal terracotta. and
Yes.
some stone.
Oh, yeah, I mean, lasts a lot longer than any limestones.
Right.
And marble.
Really, longer than marble.
Yeah.
See, to a layperson,
A lot longer.
that is an incredible
It's an
fact.
incredibly hard material.
Producing these finished works is highly skilled, but to get a feel for the process, I'm going to help make a Georgian keystone.
Right. So are these all part of the same mould?
Yeah, this completes one mould.
So that's ready to receive
The clay.
the Coade clay. So we just take handfuls and push it in?
Yeah, but yeah, basically. What I would do is...
Basically means politely no.
Well, yeah, we need to be careful. So I'd identify the fact that the nose is quite deep and undercut. So you need to
Right.
make sure initially that we get clay into there.
OK, so that's the first bit.
Just push it in with your thumb, make sure it gets right into the bottom. You can maybe just use 2 fingers to go into that forehead. You've got to get into the corners. They're sometimes quite difficult. You need to actually make real attention
OK.
to that corner.
Of course, it's absolute joy working clay. You know, it's a lovely material.
You're doing very well, Monty. Definitely give you a job.
The success of Coade is remarkable for the fact that in an age dominated by men, it was the brainchild of a woman, Eleanor Coade, who was a brilliant businesswoman and quickly made her company a household name.
Right, well, we'll wait, and then hopefully I'll be able to take to bits.
Yeah.
Mrs. Coade was obviously a business genius, but she was lucky. Because by 1770, there was a lot of new money, and this money was generated by industry. Until about 1750, most of the money being spent on houses and gardens was essentially old landed gentry. But by the end of the 18th century, all this new wealth developed from the Industrial Revolution expressed itself in new houses, new gardens, new ornaments. And Coade supplied it superbly because it was a little bit cheaper, a little bit more accessible, and could be produced at home in a very efficient manner. So she got everything right. And the thing that was most right of all was her timing.
Yeah.
Can I just point it apart?
take one half off and then...
And I won't damage it?
You might drag a bit, but no.
OK.
In its heyday, Coade's work could be found in almost all the stately homes and gardens of Georgian Britain. But its success was short-lived.
There's an eye looking at me.
Eleanor Coade died in 1821, leaving no natural successor, and poor management and changing fashions led to the company's swift demise. However, there is still no better material for producing high-quality, durable outdoor sculpture.
Right.
We're now faced with tidying this up and adding all the detail generally, because ultimately what we're trying to get to is this.
That is much more detailed. Almost every aspect of it than that.
No, the reason people really like Coade and why it's so revered is it is this stage now. The addition of all this detail will really lift it and bring it to life. And that's what Coade was so good at.
Great. Well, that's beyond my skill anymore. Can't work on that.